more song and then we'll start the show. Okay, it's a minute after. This song's almost over anyway, so alright, let's get going. Hello.
Welcome to the Tea Party with Marty Abernathy, a show by an ultra-feminine, meek, shy,
Where's that music coming from? That is so weird. Suddenly my laptop doesn't want to start. There it goes. All right.
Welcome to the Tea Party with Marty Abernathy, a show by an ultra-feminine, meek, shy, totally unopinionated trans woman that seeks to listen to both sides and does not make fun of TERFs. You've listened to the show, right? You still want me to say this? Okay. Here's your host, Marty Abernathy. We're streaming live on YouTube, Periscope, Twitch, Mixer, and Facebook. You can follow us on Facebook by searching for Tea Party Podcast. That's the letter T followed by Party Podcast, all one word. And on Twitter and Instagram at Marty Abernathy. You can financially support the show by making a one-time donation by going to trans.fm or by becoming a monthly patron at patreon.com/Marty Abernathy. That's MartyAbernathey.
Good evening, whoa, that's hot. Good evening, everyone. I'm going to try to be quiet, maybe go away from the microphone a little bit if I want to yell. Oh, dear. So, good evening, everyone. I'm still peeking. And I want to be this close to the microphone because it's kind of an intimacy thing. Anyways, welcome to the show. So got a weird kind of show tonight, I think. Got some ACAB. That should be a Phil Collins song. Oh my god, I have to share. I have to share. I totally forgot. So I had one of our fabulous listeners made an image from one of the shows we did, and it just makes me laugh. So if I ever have any merch, this is going to be part of my merch, I think. This comes from Nerd Teacher. What a nerd on Twitter. And it tickles the shit out of me. It's this. Look at this. You make me need an ocular enema. Oh dear. I have the best listeners, viewers, whatever you want to call it. Hope everybody's doing okay tonight. If you want to help out, go to teapartypodcast.com, and you won't find everything because I switched over to a different platform because it was costing me too much per month to actually host my links page. Just made more sense to do this. So anyway, you can go to teapartypodcast.com, help out. You can join me on Patreon. It's Marty Abernathy, MartIAbernathey.com. No, not .com. I actually do own MartyAbernathy.com again. I've just been toying around with putting my website back up, but I haven't found a place where I can put up WordPress without it getting hacked. So, yeah. Anyways, so tonight I wanted to talk a little about racism and liberals, and I came across a post that I thought was a little suspicious, and it's from Christy Winters. So this was back in 2020 during the election cycle. She's like, I'm so furious with so many white people today. I'm furious with white racists, with disingenuous white people's indifference to people dying, and with paternalistic white leftists who think they can white-splain issues of individual and systemic white supremacy to black people. As if, and then she goes on to call out COG, which is he's a popular YouTuber slash and it's just like this call out, like kind of random, and there was kind of a discourse around it. He said, did I miss something? Didn't she just white-splain there? Well, that gets worse. This is interesting, though. Did I just miss something? Suddenly I'm white-splaining. Legit want to know if people feel supporting ACAB is white-splaining. Or not even supporting, being sympathetic to. First of all, ACAB isn't just for black people. Police oppress everyone that isn't in the wealthy ruling class. So I mean, to make it racist, something that's racist is just absurd. Black Americans disagree on the issue. This is Christy Winters. Black Americans disagree on the issues around police and policing. That's a discussion in my opinion for the black community. And to a certain extent, I can agree with that. But when it comes to police and policing, it affects everybody. It disproportionately affects Black Americans in the United States, but policing and the way policing is set up impacts poor people, homeless people. I mean, anybody that's not bougie. And for white leftists who explain y'all can't live outside a capitalist system, even if you personally want to dismantle it, I see a lack of self-awareness in calling all black cops bastards despite their efforts to work versus white supremacy in police structures. First off, a white person that's weaponizing ACAB for political reasons. That's what this is. If you're wondering what's going on here, look when this was. This is when Joe Biden was getting a lot of push back, and he was saying that the police need to be reformed, and this is a common Democratic thing. You got Carville going around saying defund the police is it's gonna allow Trump to get in office, blah 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 blah. He said, I made it very clear I was using it to mean bad and not bastards. Like that fucking matters. It doesn't fucking matter. Because, and this is something I wanted to play some videos because it may not seem relevant, but it actually is. Look at that face. Who is that? So there was a police officer here in the UK that was murdered here in Kent, and this person posted this to TikTok.
There's going to be millions of women sharing justice for Julia. Rest in peace, Julia.
Oh God, I get so sick of stuff like this. First off, ACAB, kill all men. Eat the rich, kill all landlords. Are they all literal statements? Learn what hyperbole means. Jesus. All these things are criticisms of systems of oppression. You can be sad about this police officer's death because she wasn't a police officer, she was a person. Her police officer was her job. It's not something intrinsic to her being. The police protect wealth and privilege. Firefighters, paramedics, those people save lives. What you're doing is you're using a woman's death for your political clout. And it really is gross.
So and it was kind of funny because she literally posted this.
There's going to be millions of women.
Wait a second. She literally posted.
My God. Can you not read?
And if you can't read it, it says hyperbole means exaggeration. That's nothing to do with the fact you're saying all for the acts of some, like you're using the wrong word.
Can you not? It's literally not meant to be taken literally. Exaggerate.
Now, I did say,
look, when it comes to hyperbole, I agree. It is not something that is a very successful literary device. If you're talking about kill all men, that isn't talking about actually killing all men. It's about patriarchy and destroying patriarchy. It's destroying the system. When you're talking about eat the rich, you're not talking about literally eating all the rich people. It's a criticism of the system of oppression. When people say ACAB, They aren't criticizing individuals in the police force. They're criticizing the actual police as a system, not the individuals. Jeez. But I get it's not a very effective literary device at all.
And I think that is true. I think it's well, Jordan Joan P. I mean, literally. I think this is her MO. To be honest with you, I mean, when she goes after somebody like Jonathan for hyperbole, which and at the time Jonathan was really a big part of her chats and stuff like that. I just think this is this is her MO. This is what she does to people that are in her realm. I think she's using them to make some point. And to be honest with you, I think Cog's probably not to the, because I mean he brings up a lot of points. Somebody said, so all Muslims are terrorists then? He said, no, the two aren't equivocal. There is a disconnection from power relations, as White Lives Matter replied to BLM. Power structures have to be taken into account when making generalized statements / rallying cries. I mean, that's the thing. When you're talking about ACAB, you're not talking about individual people. You're talking about the system. And again, Christy comes back and says, translation, I can't use a prima facie reading of ACAB, so let me redefine it into something more palatable, but not inherent in the phrase. Why not just stop using a logical fallacy to demonize even those working to transform the system? Transform the system into what? Transform the system into what? What are you transforming it into? Jesus. So, I mean, there's it goes on and on and on and on. But I thought it was really interesting. Let's go to Christy Winter's page today. So let's see. Let's travel down here a bit. So here's something about race. Today's episode of Stand Up with Pete features a very enlightening interview with Jacob Wise. Let's go down a little bit further. 2 retweets of Tim Wise. She's literally criticizing Cog for talking about ACAB being a black American topic, and here she literally is fucking the only person that she's retweeting today when it comes to critical race theory is Tim Wise, a white guy. Literally, he says at the beginning of every talk he gives that he is not the best expert on these issues, but people listen to him because he's white. It's the hypocrisy for me. Oh, God. Oh, Lord have mercy. I mean, it's gross. It's gross. When leftists use I mean, one of the other the examples I saw of this was Chapo Trap House, episode 453. I couldn't find this episode. It's funny. You can find 436 and 434, but you can't find 435 for some reason. But will, I mean, like getting into it, like one of the problems with this is that if you offer a critique of the current moment, it is so easy to paint someone who offers that or just points something out as being wholly against, for instance, the wave of protest around police brutality and George Floyd. And like that, for instance, Matt, have you written an entire book on Eric Garner? And they go on basically to say Eric Garner called the police the day before that he was murdered because he was being harassed. Therefore, black people need the cops too. And Tybee says, what's the link with the Russiagate thing? Blah, 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 blah. And then this next person comes in, Amber. There's a lot of non-white cops too, so you have to grapple with a few just initial like complications to that statement. No, you don't have to. I mean, Jonathan in the chat said the host of Like It or Not, Benjamin Dixon, often said that about conservative politicians. Skinfolk are not kinfolk. And that's not something that I can say or have any commentary on because I'm not black. But I'm not also going to weaponize cops' race against a movement that oh well, Adam, I brought this up. This is actually back in June, but yes, but it's not just her. I mean, it's literally Chapo Trap House, or what do they call them? The dirtbag left. Same fucking thing. And they're not talking about it now. Are they talking about police reform at all? Say what you will. I heard Sam Cedar the other day that was literally talking about police abolition. There are some leftists that are actually having a conversation about it and about the reality of it. But, I mean, these folks will... Yeah, it's funny when it's funny when I worked on the Garner book, I sat in a corner and listened. There were always these debates around the corner. Do we need more cops or fewer cops? And you would even hear it between drug dealers, right? Little known fact, Eric Gardner called the cops on somebody the night before he was killed. And yeah. Oh my God. I mean, I think that's the point though. And I honestly believe liberals, what do you think liberals glom onto whenever the most trendy, if unrealistic, but quote unquote radical position is? Particularly if it's a minoritarian. Oh my God. These people, like, literally, they just want to weaponize race for political reasons. And I think that's what Christie did, and I think because is she platforming black voices on when she's talking about race on her page? She's platforming Tim Wise. If that's your knowledge of the issues of the day is Tim Wise, then you probably are white. But taking someone else to task over that, I found that was a bit rich. It's just stupid. Anyways, I found this it's called Church Militant, Defund the police is Marxist, not anti-racist. So, there, Christy Winters. Oh, God. International Marxist movement, Left Voice, rebuked the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone leader, a Seattle council member, for voting in Carmen Best to become Seattle's first permanent African-American police chief, insisting that socialism is impossible without smashing the institution of police. And it just goes on and on and on. It's freaking hilarious. It is freaking hilarious. This is a Catholic church thing. It says, left voices continue to expose its anti-police communist agenda. Police are not workers. They are armed force of the bosses and have no place in the labor movement, the publication declared Saturday. The police were originally formed to hunt down slaves, break strikes, and disrupt protests, Left Voice stated, citing Karl Marx, Frederick Engels, and Vladimir Lenin. From its inception in the 19th century, the police have been an enemy of the workers. I see no lies. The Catholic Church teaches, quote, private property or some ownership of external goods confers on everyone a sphere wholly necessary for the autonomy of the person and the family, and it should be regarded as an extension of human freedom. I didn't read that in the Bible. When I read the Bible was Jesus said that you should take all your belongings and sell them. Religious socialism, Christian socialism are contradictory terms. Jesus was a socialist. For no one can be at the same time a good Catholic and a true socialist, Pope Pius declared. Oh, that is so funny. Hilarious. Oh, it's funny. They think this is an indictment of communism, and it's actually an indictment of the church. And honestly, I think that's what most people would see it as. By the way, I rarely will use the term woke, but we have to watch this together. This is the CIA.
When I was 17, I quoted Zora Neale Hurston's How It Feels to Be Colored Me in my college application essay. The line that spoke to me stated simply, I am not tragically colored. There is no sorrow dammed up in my soul nor lurking behind my eyes. I do not mind at all. At 17, I had no idea what life would bring, but Zora's sentiment articulated so beautifully how I felt as a daughter of immigrants then and now. Nothing about me was or is tragic. I am perfectly made. I can wax eloquent on complex legal issues in English while also belting Guayaquil de mis amores in Spanish. I can change a diaper with one hand and console a crying toddler with the other. I am a woman of color. I am a mom. I am a cisgender millennial who's been diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder.
Now this is virtue signaling.
I am intersectional, but my existence is not a box-checking exercise. I am a walking declaration, a woman whose inflection does not rise at the end of her sentences, suggesting that a question has been asked. I did not sneak into CIA. My employment was not and is not the result of a fluke or slip through the cracks.
I am an imperialist agent.
I earned my way in, and I earned my way up the ranks of this organization. I am educated, qualified, and competent, and sometimes I struggle. I struggle feeling like I could do more, be more to my two sons, and I struggle leaving the office when I feel there's so much more to do. I used to struggle with imposter syndrome, but at 36, I refuse to internalize misguided patriarchal ideas of what a woman can or should be. I am tired of feeling like I'm supposed to apologize for the space I occupy rather than intoxicate people with my effort, my brilliance. I am proud of me, full stop. My parents left everything they knew and loved to expose me to opportunities they never had.
They must be so proud that you're a woke imperialist.
Because of them, I stand here today a proud first-generation Latina and officer at CIA. I am unapologetically me. I want you to be unapologetically you, whoever you are. Know your worth. Command your space.
Command your space and we'll fucking invade. Oh, I am the intersectional CIA. Oh my God. So fucking. Nicholas in the chat. My son says somebody send a hearse because I am dead. Oh my God, isn't that the greatest? Oh man. But, you know, I'm just blown away. The Intercept did this internal NYPD document shows that cops were sent to the protest with barely any First Amendment training. Jordan Joan P. You too can be an imperialist. Yeah. But these cops were sent into the protest without any First Amendment training. First of all, shouldn't you know the First Amendment like coming out of the academy? Like, shouldn't you know basic rights for the people that you're serving and protecting? There was a protest, fuck your 275, promoting event, referring to the cost of a subway ride. And they were protesting, saying it should be free. The NYPD's academy used protest literature. They refer to it as propaganda and used it in a student guide. And it's just like, they don't give. They'll talk about these groups, these protest groups, but they don't. The training materials don't have anything about First Amendment rights. And the cops don't know about basic shit. Like, this is stuff. I mean, we put on plenty of protests, and we always had people from different LGBT protests that I helped organize, anti-war protests. We always had people from the ACLU come and watch to make sure that there were no they were watchers, and they actually had shirts so that you would know who they are. And like, this is probably why that's needed. Cops aren't even trained to, and the whole thing with all the protesting that's going on, you know, like I said, if you're going to go into battle with people protesting, you should probably know what their rights are and what you can Jordan Joan P said it's like watching a propaganda that Star Wars villains, the New Order, would make. Yeah. I mean, the sad part is that this is just, I mean, this is just, at the end of the day, this is just police learn how to arrest people. That's it. They learn what to arrest them for, and it's like going to work at McDonald's, you know? It's just sick. And even when there's change, I mean, look at this shit. Sacramento lawmakers approved change to use of force policy, saying it should be the last resort. Why in the fuck is this supposed to be groundbreaking? Is this reform? Like, literally. Is this reform? Adam Rainstopper in the chat said, for a really brief period in 2014, an armed right-wing libertarian group showed up in Occupy Oakland without any signs or anything, just to make sure that the First Amendment was protected. Well, at the end of the day, like, we know that, because you could see how the protests were handled, the BLM protests versus the insurrection at the Capitol, how it was handled. The cops are going to crack heads of people that they deem not worthy in society. Sadly. Anyways. I thought this was funny. Tucker Carlson is I just can't.
The question is, does anyone with an IQ over 80 actually believe a word of this? Does anyone in power really think something called white supremacy is the single greatest threat America faces? No, of course not.
Nobody thinks that's the greatest threat to America. It's the greatest threat to black people for sure. But it's nothing new. It's not something that just developed, and it's not.
No one thinks that. Susan Rice knows it isn't true. So does Barack Obama. So do all of the other architects of this particular lie. They made it up in the first place, so of course they know precisely how false it really is. They may be liars, but they're not delusional. In real life, they understand perfectly well what actually threatens America. They've seen it up close. It's the culture.
It's the trans people. The cisgender intersectional agency. Well, apparently it is.
Culture that produced them. It's the decadent rich people from their class at Harvard. It's the gender studies department at Cornell. It's the cat cafes in Austin and Asheville.
Those are the things.
It's the Monday editorial meetings at the Atlantic magazine, where David Frum is treated like an important intellectual rather than some dopey middle-aged Canadian Twitter celebrity whose life goal is to force America into yet another unwinnable, pointless war. Those are the people who actually detest the country. They're the ones who are working through the night to destroy it. They're the people who are committed to and in the process of excusing violence. So if you wanted to save America, these are the people you would be worried about. They make the Iranian nuclear program look like nothing.
Oh, Tucker. He's just full-on white supremacist these days. And you just wonder how far this is going to go, but I think this is his gig. This is what he does. Adam Rainstopper in the chat says a protest in broad daylight ain't the place to be starting your joint op with the left in an armed revolution. Well, Adam, they want to make everything the boogeyman. I mean, when they talk about the Iranian nuclear deal, I'm like, I think Iran should have nukes. I mean, if India, if Pakistan, if Israel has nukes in all of them, I mean, it's just xenophobia when you sit there and try to make it out like, oh, they're going to use the bomb. Who's the only people that have used the bomb? Go fuck yourself. You know, like Americans don't have any place talking about who's going to use a bomb. It's just absolutely ludicrous. But that's what kills me about this. It's all incremental change. When it comes to any kind of any Nicholas King, Tucker Carlson has to be a direct descendant of whoever ran PR for King George III. Hey, now watch it. I'm in England. Well, and that's the thing. When it comes down to it, like, I can see people that I know in my family that watch Fox News, they'll just be eating that shit up like butter. But it's just so ludicrous. I think most people that are young, under 30, definitely under 30, maybe even under 40, don't buy this bullshit. They've been trying to spoon feed people this for so long. It's not even funny. And that's why there's people would sit there and think, oh, socialism, and keep saying that word, making it become something that young people understand what socialism is and are going towards. If you look at the polling, and I think communism is kind of going that same route, because when people understand what it is, it becomes something that isn't this. You can't red bait someone after you do that for so long. So yeah. Anyways, Jordan Joan P in the chat says, Tucker, white supremacy is not a problem, but let's sound like one and brainwash you into it. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely, they want to deny the fucking most obvious thing. Like, you literally just had protests where people just for coming out on the street were harmed, were thrown in the back of vans and driven off. Fucking just really awful shit. And then well, Nick, I didn't say all young people, but more often than not. I don't know what that is. Oh, something's going on. Something's going on my Xbox. I just realized that's what that is. But yeah, so anyways, when it comes to white supremacy, I think anybody that looked at last year and can't see it is never going to see it, but most people are able to see the hypocrisy. When people were just let through on the Capitol. If those would have been black protesters there would have been a massacre, and you know it. Everyone knows it. If those weren't Trump supporters, they would have been bashing heads. No one would have even gotten close to those doors. Anyways, I'm going to move on to a totally different topic. No, wait. Actually, check this shit out.
Dispatch, I've arrived at that disturbance. We have LeBron call my cell phone right away, please. Thank you. Excuse me, sir. Excuse me. No, can you put the knife down, please, sir?
Many people have been critical of LeBron James' statement on Twitter. This cop, though, would rather mock him and talk about the issues at hand. It's Andy here, and a lot of discussions have been made about the accountability of police officers. Some discussions, maybe not. Right. Sylvester defended Potter by saying that she probably did a lot more good than bad during her time as a police officer.
Maybe I'm being presumptuous, but I dare to say that most of you making these comments have never...
Yeah, I've never been a cop. So this is basically this dickhead cop that posts a TikTok. I mean, he should be fucking fired just for that. But basically, he's going after LeBron James.
Responsible, and that the officer did his job and saved someone's life. Instead of apologizing, you deflected. You took your own tweet down because you did not want to be used for hate, when the tweet itself was the embodiment of hatred, said Joseph. Whether they agreed with James's tweet or not, it did come from a real true place a lot of activists are saying online. And overall, that is the Black experience from a lot of people, and you can't take that away. So let us know what you think at What's Trending of.
So anyways, they're going after LeBron James. This guy he's gotten in trouble, but literally he is getting a shit ton of money. Like 400,000, I believe. Just fucking a joke. I found this interesting. I'm going to save that as a palate cleanser, I think. So I had this happen to me.
Somebody come get the toxic masculinity dude. So I watched this today.
Like, which one are you? As though it were a binary choice.
She also forgot to add that those conversations are generally dominated by white male.
Then the creator Off the Marks posted it and posted this.
It really fucking doesn't matter whether or not you're an ML or an MLM or
Definitely check this video out, this content creator. They're basically making the observation that people get very caught up in specific ideologies when really we should be working together. I noticed this in music.
I posted this comment just asking if he was going to address, since he was a white male, that part of her video, or if he had anything to say. And his response? Why are you so insanely toxic? I've had one other interaction with this creator. Maybe if cis men weren't so fragile, we could work together.
Oh God, that just fucking killed me, because it's like, oh, really? Are you that fucking sensitive that? I mean, not her whole post, but a lot of it was centered around that. It was centered around why people hold on to labels when it comes to Marxist Leninists and all that. But I'm just like, she literally said that it was a lot of white dudes that are doing it. And I'm just like, the whole point. Well, Adam, I that's the toxic masculinity, dude. Because I do think that's toxic masculinity. You ignore what was asked from a woman that is talking about it being a white male thing and why? And then you deflect and you you just say, well, in music, I find, and I'm just like, and I just asked the question. I literally just asked. I thought in a polite way, is this something that you're going to address? Because that's what she was talking about. But anyways, I thought that was funny. It's just like, Jesus, you're so insanely toxic. Okay, whatever. Anyways, yeah, that GoFundMe for the cop who mocked LeBron James, it's up to 460,000 K. So, fucking raw. It's a gig. It's literally. I think this is only going to make people doing this kind of thing more often, because it's literally turning into a grift. It's literally turning into someone's job. If they go out and they get fired, they get paid for it. Cops are learning how to grift off of social media. Anyways. So, I did want to talk about a story that I thought was pretty fucking interesting. It's in Slate. Yes, I've got my ad blocker on. Thank you very much. I don't know how to say his name. And him and I have been mutuals forever. Evan, is it Ilkuhart? Anyways, he wrote this. An ex-detransitioner disavows the anti-trans movement she helped spark. It's very similar to ex-gay community, she said. No one really changes. And the post talks about this person that transitioned, Kai Shevers. She started to transition to male when she entered college before the end of her transition. She now identifies as transmasculine. Think more Elliot Page, less Chaz Bono, and uses she, her pronouns. But it talks about how, like, it says they ended up giving her gender queer identity, embracing the idea not only of her gender dysphoria, but all gender dysphoria was false and caused by internalized sexism combined with trauma, and an idea that she then did much to advance and proliferate online. Today, however, Shivers has recanted this view. According to her, like the ex-gays of the 1990s and 2000s, many of who claim they overcame their sexuality after religious conversion, only to affirm it later, some detransition people still struggle in private against feelings of gender dysphoria that they can never fully suppress. It's funny with my gender dysphoria. There's still signs of it that show up every once in a while, but it's nothing like it was. It always felt to me like it was like if you ever had an inner tube in a big body of water and you would try to put it below the water. The farther down you tried to push it, the more it wanted to come up. And that I always felt like that was an apt metaphor for my gender dysphoria. And now it just floats on top I don't hardly even think about it anymore. But says detransitioners may be a small group. Even the highest estimates are in the hundreds compared to the estimated number of trans identified people in the low millions. But they have been influential in pushing the denial that trans identity is real. Adam in the chat says, even if gender dysphoria was caused by trauma and rooted in sexism, so what? Why would you deny someone that one thing is proven to fucking work? Well, and that's it. That's just it. And Adam says maybe a little less analysis and more fucking empathy. Well, I have a file for that one. I want to play this. I did an interview with Sandy Stone. Sandy Stone was someone that was in a women's collective back in the 70s, and basically TERFs went after her, basically threatening her life. And it was a big thing back in the mid 70s. And this is what she had to say.
More of us understand now that you can't engage hate with reason, even when hate presents itself in the guise of reason. If you try to reason back, you're wasting your time. What you need is to build your power base, like the various transgender support organizations that didn't exist. All of those things are ways of being able to take space, which is rightfully ours, and be able to speak back. And I think that's the best that we can hope for in an imperfect world. We're never going to live the world of hate. We're never going to educate people who don't want to be educated, no matter how much of theory they may appropriate, no matter how much they may try to appear reasonable and rational. They can't be educated, and we shouldn't even be trying. I mean, we can try with people who actually want to engage in dialogue, but we shouldn't waste our energy on people who don't. Life is
too short, is what she ended up saying, and that's so true. So true. These people, but I remember back in the 70s, when I was a kid, and how the tenor of society was, how it was moving, and in some fundamental, really progressive ways. But in the 2000s, the 1990s and the 2000s, I feel like it got more conservative, and with Reagan coming in and that type of stuff. And when it comes to this detransition stuff, it literally is. I remember PFOX. They were parents of families of ex-gays, I believe. And it literally, I mean, it was just, every so often you'd hear of one of their members that would disavow and basically come back and say that they were still gay. And this is the same fucking thing. It's literally, they want to find people that hate themselves, and they use them. Says at 35, Shevers is no longer saying she was wrong about everything, either in her transition or her detransition. She now identifies as a transmasculine, butch, dyke, genderqueer, something like that. She told me. She said her pronouns contrast with her male-sounding voice and masculine presentation. She doesn't think that every single detransitioned woman is really trans, and understands that others may have different experiences. And that's the thing. When it comes to this, it should be something that it's about informed consent, just like any other fucking thing like this. Jesus Christ. Just let people have the information and let them make choices about their own fucking body. I mean, this is the same when it comes to this or abortion or anything else. Let people have the right to do what they want to do with their own body. I mean, it's as simple as that at the end of the day. Anyways. I found this kind of ironic. This person fond of Beatles. She's a pretty well-known TERF. She says, scientists, philosophers, anyone, how might one experimentally demonstrate the existence of gender identity? Let's not be constricted by ethics. You can inject things into brains and so on. And I'm like, first off, I always love this when people, because this Too Damn Trans says how one might experimentally demonstrate the existence of the self or personhood. I do not think these are testable claims, but who cares? Only trans identities get publicly scrutinized in that way. Which I think is true. But when you're talking about this, think about it in the concept of prove that love exists. How many people would sit there and say love doesn't really exist? Well, you can't prove it. Yeah, pain. You're not in pain. Pain doesn't exist. I mean, you can test for pain, stuff like that, but it's just feelings. Sad. You're not sad. You can't be sad. We can't test you. How can we demonstrate the existence of sadness? It's the dumbest thing. But basically, these people they're just trolls. And this made me laugh. Another TERF rhetoric thing. Have a toilet seat at a 45-degree angle. If the person entering the room puts it down, they're female. If they lifted it up, they're male. I shall accept my noble prize at the earliest opportunity. I'm like, if that's all it is, listen, guys, you should all be women too. Because I'll tell you what, standing up to pee is one of the dirtiest things that you can do. It literally is. Because this is a joke that I'm going to use for my comedy routine, so I'm gonna share it with you. But you don't, guys, you don't have magic piss. There's no such thing as magic piss. It doesn't go right from your penis into the toilet bowl. It sprays. And a lot of that goes on your hands. It goes on your leg. It goes on the floor. It goes on the side of the bowl. It sprays. So you should sit the fuck down. And don't be a dirty mother. Oh. Well, Jonathan, sometimes you sit down to pee because you're a woman, apparently. According to TERF logic. Oh, and something that always fucking pisses me off is when people ask me about if I've had surgery or not. I want to play this video. This is advice.
My last video managed to piss off quite a few cis people. And a lot of you didn't grow up in Mr. Rogers' neighborhood, and it shows. So here's a crash course in talking about a stranger's bits. Step 1, don't. Step 2, don't. Step 3, fucking don't. My bits are, and this is true, none of your fucking business. But here's a fun little mnemonic device to really help you along. Keep my bits out of your mouth.
That's blunt. But these days, I'm a bit more blunt. If somebody asks me anything about if I've had surgery, I always ask the same thing. Why? Do you want to have sex with me? That usually will shut them up and get the point across. But there are certain things, let's just have a conversation. There are certain things that you should never ask. You should never ask someone about their genitals. You should never ask a woman if she's going to have kids. Because you should never, ever, ever assume that somebody A, wants kids or has the ability to have kids. And if you ask these questions, you're being a dickhead. And I mean, some people just don't understand what they don't understand the context of what's appropriate and not, of personal space, of personal. There are certain things that you don't ask just because you're curious. Adam, stop. Oh, but there are things that you don't ask, and you respect people's it's privacy, but you can't assume that just because you have 4 kids that they want to have kids. I mean, I know that people want to have like connection with other people and talk about the same things that they're having, but you shouldn't assume that someone's not going through a struggle and you've just. And again, you should never ask a trans person unless you want to sleep with them what bits they have. End of story. So, anyways, I think all trans people, if they want to avoid that question and embarrass the fuck out of the person that's asking it, just say, why do you want to fuck me? Anyways, what do we got? I posted this to TikTok.
TERFs really support women. Let's take a look at how. Today, TERFs are harassing a rape crisis center in Edinburgh. Let's take a look back at history. Remember when they joined up with Christian conservatives and supported Donald Trump? Even traveling from England to the United States to support Trump against LGBT people. They literally went against the woman that got arrested at the Sarah Everett vigil and voted against abortion rights. But yeah, they support women. Pepperidge Farm remembers.
So yeah, TERFs being TERFs. Yeah. In that special, they really support women's rights. They're all for being there for women, except when women support trans women, and then basically, sorry about your luck. You want an abortion? Fuck off. You want the right to protest? Fuck off. You're just an actor. These people, literally, they have one joke and they have one focus, and it's trans people's lives, and it's pathetic and gross. It's really gross because they're hyper fixated. I mean, this is the new thing going
Time to
around.
talk about another TERF sticker found near my house. This is another one of those definition propaganda style stickers that I spoke about, and it follows the same visual design. This one reads, femalist, noun, defending the rights of biological females. And yes, it does say femalist, not feminist. I also assumed it was a typo when I first saw it. Like many reactionary movements, TERFs tend to pick euphemistic terms, such as gender critical, to refer to themselves, with this being one of them. Femalism is a term that had been coined by TERFs as an alternative to feminism, as they believed that feminism had become too trans-inclusive. And so they made their own version that exclusively conforms to their own incorrect idea that a narrow, overly simplistic and binary view of physical sex is the only way to determine somebody's gender and whether or not they experience misogyny. As the gender critical, with femalists, they attempt to hide their bigotry behind progressive and academic sounding language. But in their attempts to exclude and target trans women, they end up using language that is incredibly misogynistic and objectifying, proving again that their primary goal is to attack trans people, not fight for women's rights.
I think it's funny. I want them to self-identify this way because it just points out that you're a TERF. You can say you're gender critical. You can call yourself a femalist. Whatever. People will just identify you as the bigot that you are.
Today, we're going to talk about apartheid. Apartheid is a policy or...
Oh my God. So I'm gonna play this here in a second, but yeah, TERFs they're again what Sandy said. You can't debate these people because they don't make rational sense. They don't. Anyways, I'm gonna play a couple more videos and then I'm gonna jump out of here. How long have we been here? We've been here about an hour. I thought this was funny. It's on apartheid.
Today, we're going to talk about apartheid. Apartheid is a policy or system of segregation based on race. The last apartheid state to exist was South Africa.
But isn't Israel an apartheid state?
What are you talking about? Israel's the only democracy in the Middle East.
Don't they have security checkpoints that they operate to verify whether you're Palestinian or not? And aren't there roads exclusively for Jewish Israelis?
They deserve to coexist together.
There's definitely no such thing as coexistence under apartheid.
Enough questions, class is over.
Oh my God. How can you not call the state of Israel anything other than an apartheid state? It's just, I mean, you literally have people that are just secluded. I mean, it's an open air prison. Human Rights Watch, like, literally calls it an apartheid state, and then people that are supportive of Israel just come back and say that's a slur. Anyways, I thought that video was apropos. Very on point. Okay, this is the last video that I'm going to play. I found it interesting. It comes from one of my favorite people in the world.
I believe that the government has a responsibility to care for the people able to take care of themselves. There are countries which are perfectly able to do that. The United States is an extremely rich country. It's perfectly able to do that. It chooses not to. It chooses to have homeless people. We are 19th in the world in infant mortality. 18 other countries save the lives of their babies better than we. How come? They just spend more money on it. They care about their babies more than we care about ours. I think it's a disgrace. And this country has vast wealth. You just look at what something like Star Wars, the money spent on Star Wars, already spent $20 billion on it. Think of what that money could be used for, to educate, to help, to bring people up to a sense of self-confidence, to improve not just the happiness of people in America, but their economic standing, to improve the competitiveness of the United States compared to other countries. We are using money for the wrong stuff.
Carl Sagan. I would say rest in peace, but rest in power. Yeah. That's one thing that I've thought a lot about because I work in healthcare. I am not. It's sad that he's gone and the world is a much less good place because of it. I mean, he said stuff with such eloquence like that. It's obvious. The United States spends more on its military than the next 12 countries combined. If the United States just spent what China spent, which is China's number 2 in defense spending, if it just spent what they spent, it would be $500 billion more dollars to be able to put into the economy. Imagine what that could do. $500 billion a year into the economy. Anyways, Carl Sagan was a giant, and his words still they just hit every single time. And he's still missed. Anyways, that's all I got tonight, I think. Let's see if there's anything on the Twitters that I forgot. No, I think that's it. Yeah, that's the show for tonight. Thanks everybody for coming. We will have a show on Saturday. I don't know how well prepared I'm going to be for it. I think I'll be pretty prepared for it because basically I work on that day, but it's all right. The following, I don't work the night before, so I can get everything ready. But yeah. If you want to help the show, if you want to help others, if you want to help the show, you go to teapartypodcast.com. But if you want to help others, go to charitylinks.page. You can do some mutual aid for people. Help some people out.
Make sure to subscribe on YouTube and don't forget to click the bell icon to get notified when we go live.
Yeah, that's a reminder. Also, Sunday nights, Social Justice Alchemy. I was on the last show. If you want to check that out, go over there and watch the stream. But yeah, y'all have a good night. I am going to end this broadcast. If there's anything that you want to see, anything that you want me to have on the show, you can always message me on Twitter, on Facebook. Jonathan said this Sunday is our patron show for Social Justice Alchemy, so I can be on that too. Hooray! Although if I'm on there twice, does that mean I'm a regular? I don't know. Anyways, thank you all for coming. Jonathan said, you were great on SJA last Sunday. Oh, we talked, Jonathan, it was kind of funny because Jonathan, trying, how do I put this? Trying to rein in a bunch of anarchists. It's like trying to herd cats. So it was funny listening to Jonathan try to keep everybody on point, talking about the Labor Party, and it was interesting. But basically, Labor's fucked. Labor is fucked. They're gonna Hartlepool is a constituency that's went Labor almost. For decades it's went Labor, but it's getting ready to go Tory, and it's not a surprise. It's not a surprise. Labor is just, they're the Democratic Party, but they don't. Imagine if the Democratic Party were broken up into 3 different parties. There's the Lib Dems, which aren't really much of a force, and the Greens, they're not much of a force. But in the UK, you have Scotland, Ireland, and England, or should I say North Ireland? Anyways, Scotland has the SNP, and until I believe it was 2017, there was an independence vote in Scotland, and Labour really was against independence, and that was basically the end of Labour having any kind of representation in Scotland. And the SNP, which is a Scottish National Party, basically became the de facto party, that they're in power in Holyrood, and it's not going to change anytime soon. So Labour will never be in power unless it's with the SNP. But nobody here talks about that. They talk about Labour being this viable political party, and they're never going to be a viable political party. Jordan Joan P. Yes, you were awesome, but not as awesome as me. Thank you very much. Not tooting my own horn, but honk, 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 honk. No, honestly, I don't like. This is why I like having my own show. I can talk and say whatever I want. And if people don't want to listen, they don't have to listen. But don't have to talk over other people. I can talk over myself or over the videos, but whatever. Anyways. Check out Social Justice Alchemy this weekend. It'll be fun. Join Julie and Jamie and John Brockman and Leto and Some Random Geek and Mithril and who am I forgetting? Who's that pervert guy? Anyways, I'm forgetting people, but join us on Social Justice Alchemy. I'm starting to sound very chill. I don't know why. Anyways, have a good night, everybody. Mehmet, yes. Good.